All right, who am I here with today?
You're here with Nicholas Baily. I'm a PsyD student at Hawaii Pacific University.
Nick, thank you. Hey, what does mental health mean to you personally?
Mental health to me means everything. I mean, I can remember my earliest memory that's kind of seminal to me was being able to kind of vocalize my feelings to just an animal, at first. And this was my dog at the time. And I think back to that memory of just having just an animal and someone to speak to was very important. So early on in my later life, that became something that was important to me. It's kind of just listening to people and being there for them.
What inspired you to get into the field, like after that?
The dog thing?
Yeah, or just in general, like what inspired you to get into the field?
There were multiple things that occurred through my life that I would say kind of like shaped my journey. So the dog one was the very first one. I was very young. I would say maybe sixth grade, around there. I wasn't feeling so well, kind of bullied by my brother's friends and stuff like that because I was young. I didn't know how to hang out with them. So I thought, to hang out with them, to jive jokes and stuff, but it didn't get taken that well. Anyway, I was able to talk to my dog. And later on in life, I had a lot of people who would kind of come up to me and talk to me about things that they weren't necessarily comfortable at. I had family open to me about things that the family has never heard about. I've had my boss open to me about stuff that he's never told anyone. And it was almost like a calling, a call to action saying that, hey, maybe this is something that you're good at and how I can impact the world. But then I started to realize that, being cathartic is only half the battle. I need to get the right tools. I need to get the right training. So that's when I went off to college to get that training and then graduate school and now here at IMUA, which is my next step in my journey.
Speaking of, I got to ask you this one question, mentioning family. So in the AA and HPI community, right? Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander. I didn't think about this much, but I met some people from the continent, Asian Americans. And I know there's like that 3 Asian job thing, right? Doctor, lawyer, and engineer or something like that. So what I wanted to ask you is when you shared with your family that, hey, I'm going to go work towards being a therapist, like how'd that response go?
Oh, my family has always been supportive of anything that I wanted to do. Of course, there was always that, oh, you got to be a medical doctor and stuff like that, which is actually a little bit of my initial route of going into psychiatry, But going through that process, I found myself that based on the workload, kind of like I talked about earlier, right? That's something that I struggle with. And realizing that, hey, I don't think med school is made for me. And then kind of shifting gears and being like, you know what, I'm going to go more into clinical psychology.
Hey, Nick, what's one thing that you do to help kind of ground or reset yourself when life gets hectic?
Gotcha. One thing that I like to do for grounding is particularly like spending time with friends and stuff like that. Actually, a lot of times the techniques that we go through and stuff like that, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is one that I particularly like, but also dropping anchor is a good one by Russ Harris.
Can you tell us a little bit about the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? I'm not familiar.
Yeah. So the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The nice part about these tips is you can vary them, right? To make them work to whoever. So you can start with going through your senses. So like 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can hear, 3 things you can smell, 2 things you can touch, and the last one is taste. 1 thing you can taste. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I learned something new. I never heard that one before. Hey, I know you just finished your first training year over at IMUA Health Group with us at our clinic. Can you tell us something impactful, like one impactful lesson you got this training year?
Being present, honestly. Being present and communicating with your supervisor about how you're feeling and stuff like that. Yeah.
Nick, when the work gets heavy, how do you stay hopeful?
When the work gets heavy, how do I stay hopeful? I like to think about like specific moments that I've had with clients and see how therapy has impacted them, and that really brings me back to being revitalized.
What do you think's a misconception about therapists?
I think a misconception, actually, this is one of my favorites, is that every therapist has their life together. They're the perfect person. And, that's not true. It's absolutely not true. And I think one analogy that I've heard of that I think is beautiful is this analogy of the rock climbers. And you have your client who's one rock climber and you have your therapist who's another rock climber. And we're on 2 different mountains. We're on 2 different journeys. And what is it? I can see from my vantage point, hey, put your hand here, shift. That's your footing to get a better grip so you can move on to your journey. Well, I'm on my own mountain.
Yeah. I love that analogy. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Hey, what's one thing about mental health that you wish they taught in schools? Like say, middle school or high school.
One thing that they taught in mental health in middle
That
school,
you wish they taught.
that it's okay to not be okay, honestly.
What's something you learned the hard way about your own well-being?
This is something that I still learn to this day is, you know, taking time to give yourself self-care. Honestly, it's such an important thing. You can't pour from an empty pitcher.
Why do you think people hesitate to look, seek help for mental health? And what would you say to them?
Why do people might hesitate to seek mental health? Well, I think at first it can seem a little daunting, a little scary, right? You're opening up to somebody who you've never met before, and that can be a little uncomfortable. But what I'd give to them is that, hey, you might not meet the right therapist on the first try, but at least you're starting your journey, right? And then it's an open, safe space. So, yeah.
Hey, speaking of journeys, so I know you have some more years of school left. What are you most looking forward to?
Oh man, honestly, the learning. Like every day is a new learning experience, whether it be from my supervisors, whether it be through school. That's what I look forward to the most.
Awesome, man. And then, hey, this is our last question of the show, our signature question. So, Nick, our show is called Listen to Your Heart. So, Nick, when you listen to your heart, what's it saying?
When I listen to my heart, I think I'm going to quote my favorite quote. And it's something that I live by. And it's that a shared pain is half the pain and a shared joy is double the joy. Because I honestly believe that.
Fantastic. Nick, thank you so much for doing this. Yeah, man. And thank you for tuning in to Heartbeats. If you'd like to support our mission, check out the link in our bio to visit our store or make a donation to our nonprofit, IMUA Heart. Together, we can IMUA towards a happier, healthier Hawaii. Until next time, mahalo.